today. Can you just, there is some, you'll have to mute everybody. I think there is some sound there. Yeah, okay, great. Good evening once again to everybody who has joined this call, young students from all the Atal Tinkering Labs and other schools who have logged in, dear parents of the young children, school principals, teachers, mentors of change, and all the distinguished people who are joined today in a very important development, something that is going to excite every one of you, student innovator, who longs for such challenges to be thrown to you so that you can use your imagination, your creativity to be able to solve problems that not only are exciting to you, but is of great value to the world. So I hope every one of you are healthy, hearty, and safe, even under these very difficult COVID-19 circumstances, and that all of you are practicing the safeguards that have been advocated by your schools, by your authorities, institutions, the government, or by the health authorities that are in your community. It has always been a pleasure and a privilege for me to be able to interact with every one of you, my dear students, over the last several months. And as you are aware, we have been keeping you very busy in spite of the COVID-19 through a series of interventions that I am sure was very exciting to you, because we have been seeing a lot of comments, we have been seeing a lot of connects with you young students through the Tinker from Home modules. As you're aware, we launched along with NASSCOM the AI, artificial intelligence, basic and step-up modules during the course of the last couple of months. This has been resoundingly received by every one of you students, and I want to thank NASSCOM and Debjani for facilitating it. Debjani Ghosh, the president of NASSCOM, is here today. Thank you, Debjani, for joining us on yet another major initiative between Atal Innovation Mission and NASSCOM. And great for you to join today in spite of your very busy schedules. So we had launched these Tinker from Home modules. We had launched modules not only on artificial intelligence, which is now becoming something that is getting integrated into every solution that you're seeing, every innovation that is happening around in the world. Artificial intelligence is getting integrated into that. But we also launched for you game development modules along with Dell Technologies. We had the basic, intermediate, and advanced modules on game development. That was very exciting, and many of you have developed games using that. We launched the 3D printing module along with NIC. This is for 3D printing design. Design is a very important element, and design thinking is very important when you do any product development or any innovation. And all of you use that in your community day innovations that you submitted. Then we introduced creativity modules with Adobe, both digital creativity and skill development modules, which enables you to use tools and technologies for representing your design, for being able to communicate about it, for integrating video, audio, and all the other things into your innovation. And then we launched app development modules along with Plesmo. And these app development modules were launched both for the teachers as well as for the students. And what a response we got. We had more than 50,000 registrations of young students from all the schools joining and completing the module, completing the app development module. So that's something that really amazed all of us at Atal Innovation Mission. Your enthusiasm, your exuberance, and your ability to complete the program. And not only that, completion of the app development module required you to submit an app. And we did this with Plesmo, who's been a partner with us in the app development module. And you all did that. And we also launched an app development training module for the teachers. And we had more than 25,000 teachers joining in this. And that again was a fantastic response. So we are having now app development as something that every one of you have become familiar with, because it's become so easy to develop an app. You have tools, technologies. There is a lot of plug and play in addition to the programming concepts that you have learned through the other Tinker from Home modules. And therefore, we are now, the time is ripe. This is the month of October. The month of October is always a month studded with personalities, birthdays, which includes the great Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "Be the change that you want to see." And all my dear students who have logged on, you are going to represent the change that we all want to see. You are going to be the people who are going to innovate and create the new India of our dreams. And we want you to be able to use every opportunity that we give you to be able to become, to unleash that creativity that is within you and to be able to create great innovations. And we also have celebrated just yesterday on the birth anniversary of Sri Abdul J. Kalam, who said, dream big and you'll achieve great things. Dream small and you'll be limited by your own dreams. And you, my dear students, are the dreamers because you do not find anything that you can't do. You have the yes, I can attitude, which is required. We have more than 150 million young students who are going to be entering into the workplace, and their dreams, their creativity, their energy is what is going to propel India forward and the world forward. So we all depend upon you for your innovation, and you will all become great entrepreneurs and the future job creators of our country. So today, we are delighted to launch Innovate to Change ATL Student App Innovation Challenge for 2020, along with NASSCOM, in the presence of Debjani Ghosh, who has helped us, and her team, along with industry partners, have come together to launch challenges in uh, 7 areas: education technology, health and wellness, agri-tech, COVID-19 response, sports and fitness, mental health and well-being, and gamification in education and entertainment. So you see, this is a broad array of challenges where you are free to use your imagination to develop an app and submit it to Atal Innovation Mission and NASSCOM for our consideration. And we are, in order to expound on this and elaborate on this, we are going to have Ronak moderate this session. Ronak is the operational management lead for Atal Innovation Mission. He's going to be moderating a session. But before that, I do want to personally welcome Debjani Ghosh. She is the president of NASSCOM. She is a towering personality. She's the first woman leader of NASSCOM. She's been the first woman leader for Intel India. There are many firsts to her credit. It's too many for me to recount here. But what I can say is that because of Debjani, there is a tremendous momentum that Atal Innovation Mission has got through its relationship to NASSCOM, through the NASSCOM industry partners, and the AI step-up module and the basic modules that were developed along with NASSCOM are world-class, to say the least. I've got requests from overseas to be able to send copies of the modules to them. Of course, it's available on our website, but we are very grateful to her for being there all the time, encouraging us all the way. And she's also a super mentor of change for us. She has visited Atal Tinkering Labs, played an important role in motivating the young students there. Thank you, Debjani, for joining us today. We are very, very grateful to you. With that, Debjani, a few introductory words from you, and then we'll launch the moderation session along with Ronak.
Thank you so much, Ramananji. That's tremendously kind of you, is what I'd say. And, from a NASSCOM perspective, and I say this on behalf of my team, Yudhishthir, who's been the primary front end from NASSCOM for these initiatives. It's a privilege for us to be able to partner with you, with the Atal Innovation Mission to drive this. In all this, we talk about education, learning, we talk about how much our students need to learn, how many different things we need to learn. But I think the biggest role of education today is to make students fall in love with learning. Because ultimately, we have to do only one thing. We have to create lifelong learners. We have to make them want to learn. And, I'm always looking out for ways that we can change education so that our kids will love learning, and not run away when every time talks about learning and education, etc. And I just love the work Atal Innovation Mission, Atal Tinkering Labs is doing, because I do believe what you are doing is you're building that mindset of of a lifelong learner. You're building that mindset where the students, through the tinkering, through the problem solving, actually starts loving learning new things. And I am such a big fan of that work. I've been, as you said, to some of the adult tinkering labs. I've seen the students play around with all the tools and technologies, and it's just amazing to see the happiness, the pride that they have in the work they create when they present it. Oh my God, they're so passionate and they're so proud about what they have done. And I think that is what drives us. I know that is what drives Yudhishthir, that is what drives me and the NASSCOM team to just partner with you and do more. Because I honestly believe that the work that you are doing and the work that the AIM team is doing is what is needed for the future of education and for the future success of these kids. They are not going to be successful by cramming up hours and hours of curriculum. They are going to be successful because they're understanding technologies like AI through all these gamification challenges, tinkering labs, etc. So once again, my congrats to you, to Ronak, the entire team of AIM who's doing such fabulous work. And it's just such a privilege to be able to partner with you.
Thank you, Debjani, for those very, I would say, not only encouraging but inspiring words. Because what you said is perfectly valid today. We don't want our children to be just rote learners. We want them to be problem solvers. We want them to enjoy the learning. It is not that I have to go and get some marks and pass an exam and go into a good university and try to get a good job. Instead of that, can we use and transform learning into a very interactive, enjoyable experience which enables you to solve problems, leveraging technology which is constantly changing. Change is the only constant in technology, and we want students to be able to enjoy this experience, and therefore what you said is very, very relevant. So I would turn it over to Ronak. I know you have a series of questions, and you've also probably got some questions from the audience. So I turn it over to you to moderate the session.
Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this opportunity. My first question is for Mr. Ramanan. Sir, what is the idea behind launching the ATL App Innovation Challenge, and what is in it? What's in for the students in this challenge?
Thank you, Ronak, for that question. You see, all our students in our schools between grade 6 to grade 12, they are learning on various subjects. They learn physics, chemistry, maths, biology, and so history, geography, and so on. Uh, but at the same time, they also need to know how you are able to apply all the concepts that you learn into creating solutions for the world. We see a lot of problems in and around the communities that we live in. We can see that there are many ways of addressing these problems, leveraging emerging technologies which are like 3D printers or robotics or IoT and miniaturized electronics or augmented virtual reality. These are now become affordable, accessible, available, and advanced technologies, and they're available to the young students through do-it-yourself kits. Now, when they create an innovation for solving a problem, the power of that innovation gets extended when you connect that innovation to various applications through the mobile phone and make it accessible to millions of people who are not next to the innovation. So the power of innovation extends through mobile apps and applications, web-based applications, which can enable you to connect from any region. For example, if you are monitoring the for a particular farm, how is the weather, and you are having sensor technologies to measure the weather conditions. You are having satellite technologies which are telling you that the clouds are going to be coming, it's going to be raining within a certain period of time. You have all this information which is flowing into you, but now you can develop an app, and that app can communicate to the farmer who is having a mobile phone and tell him or her that this is what is going to happen within the next 24 hours. These are the precautions that you have to take. This is whether you need to water your fields because it's going to become very hot, or whether you need to be protecting your fields because it's going to rain. All of this information becomes available through a simple smartphone with a mobile app on it. But the mobile app on it is connected to a server which is collecting all the data and processing the data at the back end. So app development has become critical in extending the power of innovation and the power of data to cross millions of miles. So you can, for example, think about somebody in a tribal district like in Sikkim creating a product and maybe a handicraft product and sell it to somebody in Seattle because of electronic technology and because of communication technologies. All you have to do is be able to develop an app through which, and you have an application where the tribal handicraft person is able to register that product that they have done, and somebody in Seattle can sit down and through their mobile app look at that particular product and say, I want to place an order. Now that's an amazing thing for extending the power of innovation to every nook and corner of the earth, and that's what mobile apps do. Now app development has become very simple today, and it because you have a lot of, I mean, when I was learning programming, I started with assembly language, which, I don't think anybody of you of anyone of you remember now whether there is a language like that. And then I learned in Fortran, and then I learned COBOL, and then I went to C, then I went to C++, and so on and so forth. Now today you have application libraries, you have plug and play technologies, you have object libraries. It has become very easy, and you have languages like Python which make it very easy for you to program, and therefore this skill is now easily learnable by young school students, and they're doing it all over the world. And you can start building applications, and as you grow and combine your innovation with app development, this will be a great value to you when you become an innovator and you start your own startup. And that is why this app development challenge is being launched. What is going to come out of it? What's going to come out of it is you're going to become an innovator in app development. That is number one. Number two, we are going to recognize all your applications through a mechanism of identifying some of the best applications, and we want to support you in growing that application even further. Maybe some of your application can become a product which can be launched on Play Store or in Google Play Store or on the Android store, and so on and so forth. So we would love to do that. I'm sure something will come out of it. And then there are many other exciting prizes that we will announce later in partnership with NASSCOM, industry partners, and other partners who are combining. So there is an element of great learning. Second, application in various areas that we are talking about. I mean, these are all very relevant areas for today's world, where you need solutions and apps for extending the power of innovation in each of these areas. And third, you will get a recognition, but most important, you will launch yourself on an irreversible journey of innovation and app development, which is so very exciting.
Thank you so much, sir. My second question is for ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, it's a privilege to be with you in this call. Ma'am, can you please shed some light on NASSCOM's perspective towards this collaboration? And according to you, what are the unique propositions of nationwide challenge like this?
Yeah. So, as I said, I think the partnership that NASSCOM has with AIM, Atal Innovation Mission, is a very special one. I mean, we are in this because we do believe in the work that you guys are doing to bring about that much needed change in the education system, which will create the kind of skills and mindset that the industry really needs going forward for success. So it's not just creating, ensuring that you make students successful, but it's also ensuring that you build a talent pipeline for the industry. And that is extremely important for NASSCOM. And that's one of the key reasons why we strongly believe in what AIM and ATL is doing. We love to partner with you in a lot of these initiatives to not just train kids on technology, but I think what we do is train kids to solve problems using technology. And that's a huge focus area, because today, if you look at the industry, the IT industry is one of the biggest employers worldwide, and also in India. In India, we hire over 4.3 million people, and we are always looking out for good talent. The problem today is We get a lot of people who can tell us what is artificial intelligence and, give us all the theories, but they don't know how to use the technology. They don't know how to use the technology to solve problems. And because of that, we can't hire them. It doesn't matter how many degrees they have completed, but if all they know is theory about artificial intelligence, they are absolutely, I mean, it makes no sense. We know it have no value for the industry. So the industry desperately needs talent that doesn't just know the technology, but more importantly, knows how to use the technology to solve problems. And the more complicated problems you can solve using these technologies, the better it is. The higher the value that you bring to the industry and to the table. And I love this idea of a national app challenge for kids, because I think we don't. I don't know how many we've had in the past, but I haven't heard of too many national app challenge for kids. So I really, really love this idea, because I think, as Ramanan said, getting kids to create an app achieves so many different objectives. Once again, it teaches you about the technology. You learn, you practice how to code, you learn how to code, but it's not just that. When you're creating an app, you're always thinking about what problem are you solving. You can't just create an app by coding, right? I mean, then no one's going to use the app. One of the things that we'll be looking at is how effective or how much potential does this app has for actual usage. And people will only use your app if you're solving some interesting or important problem for them. So this brings about that it helps kids uh, realize, how develop those problem solving skills by identifying good problems to solve, and then figuring out how do you create an app. This also brings about a lot of thinking in the kids, in terms of as they're developing the ads, in terms of partnerships. Who all can they look at, who can they partner with in order to solve the problem better. How do they communicate? Communication is another big skill. So how do they communicate the what they are doing, the work? So I just love when Ramanan, I remember one evening he called me to tell me about this challenge. I just loved it instantly, because I felt it is such a fantastic way to teach the kids the skills that is actually needed by the industry, and also ensure that they have a lot of fun while they're learning the skills. So Ronak, that is, sorry for the long answer, but this is a topic I'm so passionate about, and what you guys are doing is so wonderful. That is what is of what interests NASSCOM tremendously.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a beautiful answer like this. Our audience are bombarding us with a lot of questions, specifically to you and Mr. Ramanan sir both. So my next question is directly coming from the audience. Uh, Sir, the students really want to know about the 7 key focus areas and how, as per your thought process, are they relevant to the community or the local problems in today's days and time and in context of India?
And, as Debjani pointed out just a few minutes ago, there are many problems that we have, and we need to be able to solve those problems using the knowledge and the technologies that are available to us. And this is the main purpose of the Student App Innovation Challenge. You have the app development kits, you have other innovation kits that are available to you. And so, in your own mind, you have already either conceived of a solution for an existing problem in one of these 7 areas, or you can conceive of a solution and put it into real application in the form of an app that can interface maybe with other technologies that you have already been experimenting with. So the 7 areas are areas which are very relevant to our country. And that is why we have identified these 7 areas. And they're also very exciting. Let's take the first area, education technology. Digital technology is transforming the way education is being imparted. Today, in spite of the COVID-19 crisis, many of you have access because of the internet, because of mobile phones, because of laptops, and because of communication technologies. You are able to access, learn, read, experiment, collaborate, teach, and all of these things are going on. But we need many more innovations in the edtech field. We want to make sure that people in remote areas are able to use. We have multiple languages in our country, and so still there are students who may not know English. How do you enable them to learn? How do you ensure voice based systems, processing systems? How do you incorporate artificial intelligence in an app development? How do you ensure that whatever areas of interest a student has, he or she has the ability to find through the mobile app that particular information which they are interested in, whether it be art, sciences, whether it be geography, history, and so on? How do you ensure that you can certify yourself on a particular skill through the mobile app in education? So there are many, many possibilities in edtech. Then you take health and fitness. Now, this is so very important. We are a large country. We have 1.3 billion people, but I don't know, you students must be aware that out of the 715 districts we have in India, 115 are aspirational districts. And in these districts, they don't have access to basic healthcare and basic fitness, basic hygiene and health conditions, because of which they are in the bottom of the pyramid. Now, what is the problem there? Most of the problem is, one, they are not having apps, for example, to provide them with information, relevant information at crucial times. What goes, for example, when a mother is expecting a baby, what are all the things that she should take, nutrition that she needs? Or when an infant is born, what sort of nutrition that the child needs? Or if you want to become fit, what are the various ways, not only for physical fitness, for mental fitness? So there are many apps that can be developed which can help young people or old people towards better health and towards better wellness, whether it is nourishment, whether it is exercise, whether it is yoga, and so on. So that's an opportunity for you to let your imagination fly and say how you are going to help in both physical and mental health and wellness. Then you have agri-tech, which is very important. 44% of our country is agri-economy based. And the problem with agriculture is that the farmer often does not know, the exact conditions under which his crop can grow in a very productive manner. For that, the farmer often needs a lot of information about the crop, the soil, the health, the climate, and so on and so forth. Apps can help provide that information in their language. Second, there are many questions the farmer may ask. I'm finding a particular disease in the crop that is happening. Is there any solution for that? And there can be ways of answering that through the mobile app. And then you have precision agriculture, which is again a very important emerging area. Some of you young students have innovated on solar panel, IoT based irrigation management systems. Now, how do you use a mobile app to connect to that and be able to provide more value adding information to a farmer? Or if the farmer has something to sell, he cuts through all the middlemen layer and is able to directly approach the market. So there are many, many possibilities of improving productivity and improving farmers' income. Then COVID-19 response. We are all in the grip of this COVID-19 response. And we need great apps for contact tracing, for preventive solutions, or for assistive solutions during the COVID-19 crisis. And some of you students have already developed such wonderful apps. I know one school in Goa, some students have sent their app where it enables contact tracing in the whole city of Goa. And it's a wonderful application which also relies on data, not only connected from within India, but from outside India. So they have been able to pull this data together and be able to create some contact tracing and information based solutions. Then sports and fitness. That's, India has 1.3 billion people, but we still do not have many Olympic athletes and so on. And one of the reasons is that information about sports, about what goes into fitness, what you can do, some of the experts are there. Now we have increasingly having Olympic winners. How do we learn from some global best practices and improve our sports and fitness capabilities? And apps can help in that. Gamification is a very important element in sports development. For example, you want to become a great cricketer or a great tennis player. You have now simulation games. You can simulate and you can see what is the best practice you should have, how you should discipline yourself in being able to learn a particular sport? How do you play a particular ball? There are many apps now. There are cricketing apps which are there. It's fantastic to see some of the apps. And then you have mental health and well-being, which I talked about. It is related to health and wellness, but in a manner of speaking, mental health has become very important. And mental health has always been shunned by normal people, thinking that, oh, it's something, but it's taboo, you should not talk about it. But that's not the case. You have today, mental health is as important as physical health, and it is a question of asking for advice when you are troubled, when you have something that is troubling you for whatever reason. It may be anxiety, it may be related to a loss that you have experienced, and so on and so forth. And these are natural reactions that we have, but we need help and we need solutions for addressing it, just as we need when we fall sick. We need some we need medicines for that or medication for that. So there are many apps in this area that you can develop. And finally, gamification in education and entertainment. Gamification has become so important because through games, you are not only making the learning exercise very interesting. I mean, you love to play a game. Who doesn't love to play a game? Everyone loves to play a game. But in the process of that game, if you learn, you simulate, then you learn about finance, you can learn about geography, you can learn about history, you can learn about physics, chemistry, you can learn about space. So many things are possible when you gamify a particular element of learning, and you make it very interesting too. And entertainment, again, there is many games you can play for entertainment. Many of you are already experts in that. I don't have to talk about it. But then how do you become a game maker instead of just being a game player? That is what this app is going to help you to do, to become a game maker. So all of these are relevant to our needs today and to the needs of tomorrow. And therefore, it's a very exciting set of areas that each of you can allow your imagination to just fly and create that app that is going to have that wow factor in us, and we are all going to be amazed by it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Again, there are so many questions which are bombarding from the students, and they are so interested about this app development module. And this particular question is also connected to the many questions that we are receiving. This is for Debjani ma'am. As Debjani ma'am rightly mentioned in her last response, that the industry requires these kind of skilled students to be part of the larger workforce. So, ma'am, how has the industry evolved around this technology globally and in India, and why it has become so important to instill such technological skills at adolescence age, at a young age? Over to you, ma'am.
So thank you for.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No, I said it's a brilliant question, whoever asks. So thank you for asking that question. But before I answer that question, just a quick point Ramanan went into great details explaining what you could do underage. I have two simple mantras that I would like to leave the kids with when they're developing their apps. Whichever segment you are developing an app in, education, health, sports, I think the first thing you have to do, even before you think about the technology, is think about the problem. What is the problem you're going to solve? And therefore, talking to users is very, very important. If you're going to do something in agri-tech, you have to figure out a way to reach out to some farmers, talk to them, understand what are the problems they're facing. I think if you're able to identify a good problem, half your battle is won. The remaining half becomes much easier. So identification of that problem is very important. And it's also may not be so important right now in this challenge, but going forward in the future, the other thing to think about is, will people pay for that problem? You may love the problem that you have identified, but if nobody wants to pay for it, that's how a lot of startups fail. So will people be willing to, is that a problem that people care about? And then third thing you think about is, the use of technology. How well can you use technology to solve that problem? And this is the sort of compass I ask entrepreneurs to use when they are building their business plans, whether it's for an app or a product. So I would leave you with the same advice. Um, Talking about the industry, the role, the how the industry has evolved. I mean, as a something that you all should know that the Indian technology industry is roughly a $190 billion worth of industry. It's a huge industry. It adds something. It in terms of relative contribution to GDP, it contributes something like 7 to 8%. It used to contribute when we had a much bigger GDP. Now with GDP growing slowing down, this is going to have a huge impact. Not just what we are doing from an economic development perspective, the industry, but the industry is also technology today is being used for everything. Imagine if we had to go under lockdown when COVID happened and we didn't have the technology we have in our hands. Imagine that. How would any of us have survived? Because we have done everything, work from home, learn from home, shop from home. The reason we've all been able to survive and stay indoors and stay safe is because we had the technology. Now, what we often forget is who's behind all of this, who's ensuring the technology is out there, and working for us 24/7. And this is the job that the industry does. The industry is working round the clock to enable the technology, run hospitals, run governments, run banks, run schools, and today pretty much running everything for us while we are sitting at home. So if you look at the role technology is playing today, uh, technology is digitizing not just businesses but business models across every single vertical. Manufacturing companies are becoming digital, banks are becoming digital, hospitals are becoming digital, schools are becoming digital. So every company today is becoming digital and the technology industry is driving. You'll be proud to know that the Indian technology industry services more than 70% of global Fortune 500 companies. Our own companies do that, and it's something I'm so tremendously proud of, right? And we that's why when lockdown and everything happened, we were given the category of an essential service, because if we stopped, the world would stop. Very simple. So that is what's happening with the industry. And when you look at the changing role of the industry, it also requires us to hire different kind of people. Today we need people who, yes, they must have an understanding of technology, but the biggest skill, as I said before, is the ability to unlearn and learn. The biggest skill that we look for. How quickly can you unlearn and learn? Second, how good are you in problem solving? How good is your communication? How good are you in collaborating with others? These have become fundamentally critical skills for employability. If you want to join the industry, you may know technology, but if you don't have these skills, you're not going to get a job. That's a fact. So it's initiatives like this which really help build those skills, build the confidence that is required. And is it important for you to understand technology while you're in school? I absolutely believe it is, because science to me is not a subject or a knowledge. To me, science is about developing a certain mindset. It Science is about how you think. When you say you're good at science, it means you are good in problem solving. That's what it means to me. Good in science doesn't mean you know all the theories out there. That is not good in science. That is absolutely not good in science. So for me, science and technology is about building a problem solving, curious mindset. So I absolutely believe that has to be done at the school level. And you don't have to be experts. I would urge you not to become try and become experts in technologies like, whether it is artificial intelligence or whatever, because by the time you finish school, these technologies would have changed. So you will anyway need to learn about the new technologies. So what we need from you is, we don't need expertise. We need a good enough foundation knowledge of these technologies. But most importantly, we need you to have those abilities to learn new things, to use technology to solve problems, to work with teams, to communicate. These are the most important skills. So Ronak, I hope I have answered that question.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Ma'am, there's a follow-up question on this. Since we know that the challenge has been launched with the support of the best of the industry members and partners, what is your take on importance of such a collaboration which develops like such kind of a challenge for our young students across the country? And can you please share who all are our partners as well?
Yes, so I would like to give a huge thanks to the partners who have come forward to help us with this challenge: Amazon, CGI, SAP, and even some of our Indian startups like Plesmo, Stempedia. These are the companies that have to date come forward, and I'm sure many more will going forward, given how exciting this challenge is. So, huge thanks to partners. In today's world, uh, you should not even attempt to do anything on your own. That is a recipe for failure. So, in today's world, whatever you do has to be about collaboration, has to be about partnerships, because today's world is about co-creation. We use this term that we have moved from self-driven innovation to a world which is about co-creation, where companies are working with startups, companies are working with governments. You have to come together uh, to find the kind of solutions we need to find, given how big the problems are. So, in today's world, nothing happens without partnerships. And I am so glad to have companies like the ones that I just mentioned come forward and help us make this challenge bigger and better.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My next question is for sir. Sir, I think I have got at least 50 copies of the same question. So a lot of students are asking that is this challenge only open for the ATL students? And secondly, how is AIM working very closely with the school education system and the network of ATL in charge teachers and mentors?
In Ronak, and first and foremost, even though it is called ATL Student App Innovation Challenge, it is meant for all the students who are logged on, and to all the schools. App development is not a particular domain of Atal Innovation Mission. It is a generic skill that needs to be developed by everyone in the schooling, in whether it is CBSE or the Jawahar Nava Vidyalayas and the ICSE schools and all of that. So it is open to everybody. That's something I want to make it clear to all the people. Number two is, I think it is very important. Some of the points that Debjani just mentioned. Identification of the problem is the key, and communicate and you develop in design thinking. The first thing is develop empathy. Empathy happens only when you are able to connect with the end user and see from their point of view, putting yourself in their shoes, and then understanding the problem from their point of view. And then the solution that you think of makes sense, becomes relevant, and becomes applicable. So that is very important. The other thing she said is unlearn to learn. So don't go with a certain bias. Unlearn to learn is really going with a certain bias. You already have the solution in your mind without thinking about what the problem is at the other end. And that's when you have to unlearn to learn, and see how you're going to approach it from a different point of view, from a more innovative point of view. That gives strength to your innovation and its application. The third point which she mentioned was very important, and that is, more than becoming a specialist, we need you to cultivate the scientific temper. And the scientific temper is one of curiosity, wanting to learn, doing research, and being able to innovate, irrespective of the underlying technology. Like she said, technology is going to keep changing. In fact, technology becomes obsolete even faster than medicines today. So that is something that you have to keep in mind, and therefore use technology for the purposes of solving a problem, become a problem solver, and that's a mindset change that is required in every one of us. And finally, she brought out this very important. Why did we collaborate with NASSCOM and the industry? Because they know what is required. We want to bridge the gap between what you learn in school and what the industry needs. And when you are, ready, when you come out of the school and go into the university, when you come out of the university and go into the industry, there should be no gap between what the industry needs and what you have been able to acquire through your educational experience. And you should be ready to solve problems that the industry is facing. So that is, this bridging the gap can only happen with collaboration, and that collaboration is unique. I mean, at your age, I never knew which company was there out there in the. I mean, I had no idea about what are the companies, what are the names of the companies. I didn't know whom I'm going to join, and the only new company I knew was Startup Group, and I finally joined them. Other groups, I didn't even know which companies were there. So now you are getting familiar. I mean, look at the opportunity you have. You are not only looking at NASSCOM, which is, I think, 2,800 companies, Debjani, that must be around that. And we are having the force of the industry to support us in all of this. So you are very, very fortunate and lucky. And I want to highlight that just for all your information, because this is your chance to get to understand what the industry needs and to be able to innovate and create solutions. Ronak, what was the last part of the question? If I can.
So the last part of the question was about how can the network of ATL in charges, ATL teachers, and the ATL mentors of change and the community can play a key role in this particular challenge?
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, every one of our initiative in ATL Innovation Mission, we try to link it up with all of the others. So, one of the reasons, all of you young students who have participated in innovation challenges, you have then got an opportunity to be mentored by in the process of learning as well as in the process of applying for these innovations. We have a 4,800 mentors of change network for associated with ATL Tinkering Labs. Now, that's a large number of mentors who are eager to help you and be able to help you and move forward on your innovation journey. So that is available to you. Not only that, many of you can, or if there is any ATL incubator close by, to your location, feel free to take the support of ATL incubators, because that is one thing that they have been very ready and very supportive. They are, after all, fostering startups. And when you're fostering startups, you understand the pains of a startup and you know what are the type of support that they need. So ATL incubators are there. We will also be seeing how you can, your application, once you develop an application, if it is relevant to a community, how through our ATL community innovation centers, we'll help pilot the application and refine it. Many of our industry partners will help you refine your application. So there will be a follow-up furthering of your innovation by maybe allocating you to some of our industry partners, and they will help you and adopt your innovation to go into the next level where it can be refined and can become very mature and becomes reliable, and it addresses many other issues like security, reliability, and so on. And finally, we want to ensure that these innovations that you do, is shared with everybody. Everybody else learns from it. So we will be putting it up on our website so that others can know about it, about what your application is all about. And if somebody wants to take it and build it up further, it will give an opportunity for further collaboration, either with a fellow innovator or with a corporate organization or with a startup. We don't know where it will lead, but it is all dependent upon what you are able to do with that.
Thank you so much, sir. One important aspect of the whole technology task across the world is ethics. This question is for ma'am. Ma'am, can you please share about how and why ethics is such an integral and important part for all technology users? You have been very vocal about this particular topic, and inculcating a moral compass and ethics to use technology is critical at this time and age. Please do share your thoughts on this, ma'am.
Yeah, so, you know, we have to ensure that when we use technology, when you guys are creating apps, etc., it is being used to help all of us. It is being used to help humankind, whether it is increases productivity, it solves a problem, whatever it is. It is very important because technology is neither good nor is technology bad. Technology is a tool, as simple as that. A lot depends on how we humans use technology to on whether technology will ultimately help us or it will kill us. I mean, there's a lot of talk about singularity and what's going to happen and how the machine's going to kill humans, and that's what I always laugh about, because just as guns don't kill people, people do. Same way, machines or technology doesn't create harm or hurt us. But yes, if people misuse it, it absolutely can. And technology can amplify human biases or intent tremendously. So we have to be very, very careful that we are not letting our biases, uh, to pass on to the algorithms that we are writing, because whether unknowingly or knowingly, but we have to be very careful about that, because that is what will create more problems going forward. And technology has, I honestly believe, technology has the power to become the biggest equalizer in a country like India. But unfortunately, if we do not think through ethics, it can become the biggest divider in this country. And that will add much more to the problems that we have. So that's the reason on ethics. And a simple thing, what ethics means, maybe in the context of this challenge. I mean, very simple things like you will need to get data in order to build your application, or build your solution, etc. How are you leveraging, how are you getting data? Simple thing like that. If you are collecting data, are you ensuring that people who you collect the data from are aware of your intentions to use the data to create this app? So are they aware of that? Because consent is so important. If you're using a data set that is available, a public data set, I mean, please check whether about the quality of the data. Please check whether the data set meets ethical needs or not. For example, if you're using a public data set that is all about US users, American users, and you're using it to solve an Indian problem, your algorithm or your code is going to have a lot of bias in it, because the code is going to be built for the American users. And so you have to think through these things as you build your app, to figure out, are you using the right data set? Do you have ethical rights to the data set? Have you taken permission to use it? Second, if you're using solutions, for example, there's a lot of uh, open solutions out there, architectures out there that you can leverage when you're building your app, from Google tools to, I mean, there are tons of solutions out there that you can use. Are you just make sure that when you do these things, you not only seek the right permission, etc., but you also call that out. So whenever you're presenting your solution, whenever the finals happen and you're presenting your solution, you should be very clear about what have you bought, borrowed, partnered with, used, and built on your own. You don't have to build everything on your own, because you will be clever. I'm sure there are lots of good solutions out there that you can partner with, as long as it's your own idea, your own design, and you're not blatantly stealing somebody else's idea and putting it forward. So it's very, very important to think through ethics in these kind of things, and ensuring that you're very transparent in what you have created. um, Never ever try to pass off something that is not your original idea as yours, because unfortunately in this world of online world that we live in, nothing stays a secret. We can easily find out if the idea is truly yours or it's not yours. So even if you're using solutions or part of your solutions from someone else, make sure that you give them credit, make sure that you call. So these are the simple things that we have to think through as we talk about the ethical use of technology.
Uh, Thank you so much, ma'am. Sir, this is we are getting bombarded with the questions, and in the for the sake of the brevity of the time, I'll just ask you one quick question, and then we can proceed with the online launch of the contest. Sir, one question is coming from many of the schools: is there a limit for any school in the number of apps or in the number of entries that they can enter?
No, there is no limit on how many different apps a school wants to participate in or the students want to participate in, except that please ensure that you're not submitting the same app multiple times. It's not going to help you in any way. But otherwise, there is no limit on any of these stuff. And I do want, I would encourage everyone who wants to apply and who has an app, an original app, subject to the integrity and ethics portion that Debjani so eloquently pointed out. We should be able to ensure that all of that is being followed. But otherwise, there is no limit on the entries.
Thank you so much, sir. With that, I would request Devjani's ma'am's blessings and your blessings to launch and share about the ATL app development challenge to 2020.
Great. We are, both Debjani and I are very, very feel privileged, and we are delighted to be part of this launch of this particular application challenge for the students across schools, not only from the ATL Tinkering Labs, but even beyond. And I do hope that every one of you who is participating on this call also spreads the message to all your schools and to other students to enthusiastically participate in this. So with that, Devjani ji, please give your permission to launch the challenge.
All the best. May this be a huge success.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So students and dear teachers, students or dear teachers, आपको सिर्फ अटल इनोवेशन मिशन वेबसाइट पे लॉग इन करना है. You just have to log in on the AIM website. The website link is aim.gov.in. वेबसाइट का लिंक aim.gov.in है. एम वेबसाइट पे बहुत सारे कॉन्टेस्ट और कॉम्पिटिशन रन होते हैं. वहां पे आपको एक बैनर मिलेगा ATL स्टूडेंट इनोवेशन चैलेंज 2020. You will come across a banner called the ATL Student App Innovation Challenge 2020. You just have to simply click on that banner. इस banner पे click कीजिए. Now you will be redirected to the competition page. Please read all the important steps and instructions for this competition. Once you are done, you can just simply click on apply here. आप प्लीज सभी इंस्ट्रक्शंस को ध्यान से पढ़िए और उसके बाद आप अप्लाई हियर पे क्लिक कर सकते हैं. When you click on apply here, you will be asked simple questions about your contact details, your name, your school and your innovation. जब आप क्लिक करेंगे तब आपको सिर्फ अपना नाम, अपना टीम का नाम, अपने स्कूल के बारे में और अपने कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स बताने हैं. आपको अपने ऐप के बारे में भी एक 1000 कैरेक्टर का description देना है. You also need to give a brief description of your application while submitting your entry. You can just simply select your focus area and you can just simply select your problem statement. अगर आप ATL है तो आपको yes क्लिक करना है. अगर आप ATL नहीं है तो आपको no क्लिक करना है. You just have to put your school details and that's it. आपको अपना एप्लीकेशन का लिंक यहाँ पे इस पर्टिकुलर पोर्शन पे मेंशन करना है और या तो आप उसका APK फाइल भी अपलोड कर सकते हैं. You can simply submit the application link or the APK file for your as your entry. Finally, you can add your team members details. You need a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 3 team members with your teacher or mentor. You can just agree to all the terms and conditions and simply submit your ideas. Please note that the deadline for this to submit your ideas and your application is 5th November 2020. प्लीज नोट कीजिए कि आपकी एप्लीकेशन सबमिट करने की डेडलाइन 5th नवंबर 2020 है. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ronak, for detailing the how do you enter into the contest and what are the details that you have to submit. Once again, I want to thank everybody who has logged on today. This is a very exciting initiative by AIM and NASSCOM and all the industry partners. This is also launching the first challenge, app development challenge and app innovation challenge through Atal Innovation Mission. I am sure that this is just the beginning of a series of other challenges that we'll be launching in the months ahead and the years ahead. I do want to thank Debjani for participating in this launch and sharing her valuable views, thoughts, insights. And I thought it was fantastic to be able to listen to that. We will be broadcast. This will be available on YouTube for everybody so that they can refer to it at any point in time. And with that, I once again congratulate the team for putting up this challenge, the team from Atal Innovation Mission, as well as from NASSCOM, and all our industry partners, including Plesmo, who has been instrumental in launching the app learning modules along with Atal Innovation Mission. And I do wish all the participants the very best, be safe, and enjoy the application and the innovation that you are going to be submitting. We are eagerly looking forward to that. Debjani, your closing comments.
Well, just all the very best to everyone. Thrilled to see the kind of interest this has generated, and I'm eagerly looking forward to the work that you guys and girls create. Congratulations to Atal Innovation Mission, R.Ramanan, you and your team for coming up with such a fantastic challenge. NASSCOM is tremendously proud and privileged to be a partner, and wishing everyone the very best. Have fun, and I'm sure some of these apps will go on to become truly game changing going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Debjani. And you brought one important point which I wanted to highlight. We want at least 50% of the submissions to be by girl children and by the girl student. We have found tremendous participation by all the girl students in the early challenges. I am waiting for the coveted 50% participation mark to be reached. And I'm sure this time we will. So thank you, everybody. Have safe, be safe. Good night. This is Ramanan, Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission, along with Debjani, and have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining in.